All right, hello, my name's Jason. I use he, him pronouns. We are here to play session 2 of 3 of the game Escape from Dino Island by Sam Tung and Sam Roberts. We've got another player will be showing up in a minute, but let's get into our intro and we'll say hi to Kyle when they show up. This game is part of the Gauntlet online gaming community. If you should be interested in online gaming, you're looking for somewhere to play, check out our videos at YouTube, Gauntlet RPG. Check out our channel, watch some of our videos. If you like our play style and our culture, maybe think about checking us out. Come play with us, and it's free to play. If you want to become a member, there's a monthly fee, for the Patreon, but you can play with us for free. And give it a shot. Um, let's go around the table and you guys introduce yourselves with your pronouns, introduce your characters with their playbook and their pronouns, and just kind of give us like the one paragraph quick sketch of your character, of who they are. And when Kyle comes on, unfortunately, Kyle's character in our first session died at the end. So we'll give Kyle more time to kind of tell us more about his new character. But you guys give us the kind of the quick version. And let's start with Robbie. Robbie, tell us about yourself and your character.
Okay, my name is Robbie. I use he, him pronouns. I am playing character named Jules, who uses he, him pronouns. Jules is 13 years old. I'm using the kid playbook for him. He's a curious, precocious 13-year-old with a kind of in terms of his apparel, definitely kind of alternative look to him. I think the other character is probably a little bit confused as to what a 13-year-old kid is doing on this expedition, but part of the explanation for that may have to do with my Aunt Maggie, who was operating with a kind of U.S. Navy SEAL team who went to the island and never came back. And I kind of was able to pull some strings myself to get myself into the good graces, I suppose you would say, of the person who is funding this expedition. And lo and behold, here I am.
All right, and Matthew, tell us about yourself and your character. Matthew, you
Yeah,
there? Okay.
yeah, I'm here. Sorry. I am Matthew. He/him pronouns, and I am playing Alex Morales using she/her pronouns. Alex is a highly anxious, fish out of water paleontologist. She's not. She's more comfortable in the academic setting. She's not keen on being out in the field, but her mentor. And has invited her to this island, and has singled her out due to being distinguishing herself in the field. So here she is in a place she definitely does not want to be.
All right. And Kyle, we're just doing the usual, going around the table, introducing ourselves. Um, where are you at with your new character? Have you, statted them up and all that good stuff already, or are you working on that?
I'm
Kyle was having some computer issues. Looks like he's still sorting it out a little bit there.
Sorry, character isn't quite done. I can introduce myself now and the character in a second.
Okay, that's fine. Go ahead and do that, and stat it up, and as we play, as we kind of go through the beginning of the game, if you can, copy whatever you come up with your character, if you're not doing it already, into the Roll20. That will help me out if I need to look up something real quick. One other thing, just on the side, just so everybody knows, Matthew isn't gonna do Roll20. Doesn't want to stress out his bandwidth and whatnot. So the handouts and stuff that we'll be using during the game, he won't be able to see them. So keep that in mind as we're explaining things. We might have to, explain things a little better so he can stay on board with us. Let me tell you, as Kyle kind of sorts out his character, and we'll come back and introduce that character here in a minute. Let me lay out kind of the story that we've gotten so far. And between sessions, I've gone back and I've tried to clean it up and sort it out and lay it out. Let me lay it out for you guys. Tell me if I'm missing something, if I got something wrong, if you want to change something. But here's the story so far. As Robbie, alluded to, Jules is a precocious, intelligent 13-year-old kid who has shown during our session to have some mysterious precognitive / ESP kind of abilities. And Jules has this aunt, Aunt Maggie, and she is a U.S. Navy captain that disappeared. And at some point, Jules snuck into her house and got some information, presumably probably from like a computer, that she was on a mission to some mysterious island in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. And she was there with a SEAL team, and they have disappeared. Some of this information made it clear that there are dinosaurs on this island. In addition, there also is some sort of powerful electromagnetic anomaly that is disrupting any sort of electronics and making this island impossible to find by normal means. Something in these records must have also led Jules to know that Salvatore Choi, the eccentric mentor of Alex Morales, would be interested in this island. So, in particular, going there. So Jules approached this Salvatore Choi and convinced him to go to to send an expedition to this island. In addition, Jules convinced him that he should let Jules go. And he agreed, but said, you're going to come on the follow-up. So Salvatore Choi and a group of researchers, I guess, went on a boat to the island. And I'm thinking a week or two later, Jules and Alex Morales, the junior associate of Salvatore Choi, and their guardian mercenary soldier Regina, got on a smuggler boat and followed him to this mysterious island. That smuggler, you paid him off and said, stay around, we'll pay you triple, to take us back. You got into a Zodiac rubber raft and you motored to the shore. The smuggler, is waiting offshore for you guys, presumably. Upon landing, you spotted a little dinosaur, a little Ankylosaurus, a Zool type dinosaur, a little baby, a hatchling. And it kind of waddled out to you guys. And in checking that out and looking around, you saw that this island, there's strange things about this island. First of all, it's way too cold for dinosaurs, and it's way too cold for the jungle foliage that's thickly growing on this island in the Middle Atlantic. There were all kinds of game trails all over that went in chaotic, strange directions um, that didn't make any sense. And there's swirling clouds and lightning storms, lightning strikes but without any real precipitation. You guys left the beach and you quickly entered into a clearing in the jungle where there were three barracks that had been thrown together at some time in the past. And looking around, you saw some dead bodies, some dead body parts in particular. You checked those out, you checked out the barracks, and through that process, you determined that there were three different groups of body parts. One had gray fatigues on with patches that showed that they belonged to a company called Cadcor that uses its logo is the caduceus, but with snakes, with winged snakes, with fangs and rattles to make it. It was the DNA helix mixed with the caduceus, right? But it was also sinister in the way they the way they drew or had stylized the snakes. There was a second group were the SEAL team. It was clear from the fatigues that some SEALs had come through here. And then the third group were civilians, presumably Salvador Choi's group. Nobody you recognize from the body parts, so that's the good news. In the process of looking around, you made a lot of noise. And shortly thereafter, you heard voices from the jungle saying, "Help, help." And you all were spooked by this, I think is fair to say. And you checked out the tracks, the dinosaur tracks. Our paleontologists checked them out and realized, that they were the tracks of a packed hunter, a killer, Deinonychus. And that and out these dinosaurs came from the jungle. A half dozen or so of these Deinonychus saying help. They were parrot Deinonychus, and you made a run for it to the barracks. Unfortunately, Jules got jumped and injured, and Regina pulled out her rifle or whatnot, tried to save him, and did manage to give him a chance to escape into the barracks, but herself was, swarmed by these things and torn apart. Does that all kind of match kind of what you guys remember? Anything you think I missed or is wrong or you want to change or anything like that? Okay. Kyle, how are you doing? Go ahead, Matthew.
It sounds right to me. Sounds like a perfectly serviceable, let's show how dangerous the stakes are situation.
Right. Kyle, how you doing? Oh, okay,
pretty good. Yeah, I've put my new character in, so I'm good to go.
Okay, great. All right, so Kyle, backtracking, tell us about yourself, your pronouns, and then tell us about your new character. The others gave us a quick review, but go ahead and take some time. Tell us about your look and your personality, and I know you've chosen the Survivor playbook. So tell us a little bit of what your thoughts are of, the Survivor's been on the island for a while. So tell us a little bit about what you've thought of as to maybe kind of what your background is.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm playing Jessica, the survivor. I'm Kyle, he, they. I'm playing Jessica, the survivor, because the soldier died. I think we lost Matthew.
Yeah, go ahead. He's right
so back. Yeah, basically she was part of the original crew, I guess, on the island. She was custodian at one of these facilities with the initial group. She has no idea what's going on. She passed the security clearance enough to clean the place, but not to know what was happening. And then suddenly dinosaurs were everywhere eating people, and she's just been kind of running around and hiding since then.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Let me tell you a little bit, adding on to that, of what you know, and at some point, if the opportunity arises, you can kind of have a role play moment where you transfer this information to the others. So let me tell you that, well, let me go to the map to help show this. So what I've done is I've put in a few things since we played last time, to kind of capture what Kyle's character, Jessica, would know. So you guys are down here still right off the beach at this barracks. And Jessica, you know that this area within the red, on the east side of this red line, is Deinonychus territory. Okay. And at the north, kind of the north end of this Deinonychus territory, there is a cliffside, and at the base of this cliff is a major installation of CADCore. And this installation is where they did most of their work with dinosaurs and the various jungle plants that are on the island. You know that CADCore is doing genetic engineering on this island. And you had probably been here, we'll say you had been here maybe a couple weeks before the dino apocalypse, and you've now been here, I'm guessing, I'm not sure the exact timeline, maybe a month or two now since post dino apocalypse. And you know that the real hardcore research was done in an even more sophisticated facility that's at the top of that cliffside. There's a facility up there, the helipad, all that kind of stuff is up there on the top of the plateau. So that would be back, where we already know there's a radio tower. You also know that that's where the main laboratories and whatnot are, up in that way. You've never actually been there. You arrived in a boat. You've stayed in this lower part of the jungle the whole time that, the couple weeks that, you were here starting to work. And there must have been some other facility in the lower part of the jungle, because you've never really been into even this lower facility that's where at the base of where it says CADCore installation. You haven't even been up in there. So luckily, because you were somebody that was so low on the totem pole, you didn't really spend any time in the Deinonychus territory. So when the Deinonychus went wild and killed everybody, you were just sort of not there. So that's maybe why you survived. You follow all that? Any questions about all that?
No, that sounds good.
Okay. And let me just see about what I've forgotten here. Matthew, one thing that we didn't cover when we played last time, let me give you the shot at this one.
Right.
Is there a name of this island, either from Maggie's records, or did Salvatore Choi say what this island's called, if it has a name at all?
Let me try to come up with one. Let's see.
Okay.
Give me a quick.
Do you want me to come back to you, or you want? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me talk a little bit about safety. We had some scary moments last time, but I think what we're trying to do is we're trying to stay within that kind of rubric of a PG-13 movie, but Jurassic Park. I don't think PG-13 rating existed when they made Jurassic Park, but you know what I mean. So there will be scary stuff, but when it gets really scary, it always fades out, or it always goes to black, or the screen goes somewhere else, or all the real scary stuff happens behind the veil, so to speak. So I think we're mostly trying to stick to that, just to stick within kind of our cinematic plot or the style of the kind of movie maybe we're trying to recreate. We are using safety tools. We have the X card. We have lines and veils. I know all you guys are familiar with that. So right now on our lines and veils, we don't have anything, so everybody's pretty comfortable. But if anything should come up or if things have changed this week that from last week, feel free to add things to it, and I will check it probably at a break or something and try to stay on board. But as of always, if there is anything that comes along that you didn't anticipate or that I missed, throw that X card up there. We'll backtrack and we'll continue our story, hopefully allowing everyone to be comfortable. Let us.
I've got a name for you.
Got it? Sure, hit me.
If it isn't too much to say, I'll go with Critacenia.
All right, you're gonna have to spell that for me. Hold on 1 second.
It's basically Cretaceous, CRETACE, and IAA.
Sorry, 1 second. Let me get the. I'm gonna write it on the map here for us. So let me get my font and everything ready. All right, hit that spelling one more time. CRE.
CRETAC, ENIA.
All right. Creepacenia. All right.
Alternate name, in case you prefer something else, is Mesozonia.
Okay. Yeah. Mesozonia. I think I can do that one.
Yeah, that might be that might be easier to say.
All right. Let us pick up in the moment then, kind of where we left off. Jules and Alex, Dr. Morales, you're inside this dusty, dark barracks. Jules has just run in. You slammed the door and you heard gunfire. You heard some screeching and growling and other scary stuff. And that's died out and it's dead quiet now. The only sound you hear is the drip, drip, drip of Jules as he bleeds from his badly cut right arm onto the rough floor of this barracks. And Alex, what do you do?
I stop the bleed. I try to stop the bleeding naturally. Like I immediately reach out for any rag I can find, try to find the wound and stop it.
Sure. You maybe you dig in there's like bunks here, so maybe like there's an old sheet on one of these beds and you rip it off and you rip it in half and you start to try to bind this wound, and it's bad. I mean, he's bleeding badly. Jules, you feel whether it's the excitement or the blood loss, you feel woozy for sure. And Jules, as Alex is, trying to bind this wound and staunch it and put pressure on it and whatnot, you see the handle of the door the latch starts to move like it's opening. Kyle, Jessica saves the day. You're not going to need to roll any dice or anything, but just narrate for us. How is it that Jessica scares off this pack of Deinonychus?
Uh, I think Jessica has mostly survived this far because she lives near where like there are bigger and but dumber predators that like eat the Deinonychuses. So um, basically, just throwing stuff that smells like the predator in this area so that the
Okay.
smell drives them
So maybe
off.
you got some rags or something that are soaked with the urine of these bigger, dumber hunters that terrify Deinonychus even.
Yeah.
And you're lurking in the jungle, and you see these Deinonychus who indeed were hovered around the door waiting to rush in. And one of them was carefully using its three-fingered paw to like push this latch. And you know them to be incredibly smart, way too smart. And you've seen them do things like this in the past. So and you throw these rags in there that they startle, and one of them moves over and smells at it, and it reacts, it jumps back dramatically, and it lets out this bark, like this high-pitched barking sound, and they all scatter, down the road, back, deeper into the jungle. What do you do next, Jessica?
Uh, I hurry up to the door and like crack it open half an inch. I'm like, "Hey, I sure hope you aren't already dead in there."
Sure. So you guys are anticipating a Deinonychus that's going to poke its head in. Jules, what were you prepared to do if it was a Deinonychus that pokes its head in?
Well, I think Jules at this point is somewhat, delirious from the injury, and blurred vision, but heard and kind of saw that latch of the door starting to open, and I think Jules kind of is alerting uh Alex to like pointing over at that door, and then is now kind of looking for, I don't know, a bunk to scurry under, or is kind of like already probably not able to get quite on his feet, but is like kind of probably in the process of scurrying
Okay,
away somewhere to get
right.
out of the line of
And
sight.
it's you see instantly, you open the door and you see this kid. There's a little pool of blood, a line, a drip, drip, drip of blood trail. I mean, it was pretty hopeless. So you spot them in there, and Jessica, that you might have fooled them, but it won't last for long. They always learn. Every time you need to fool them, you have to think up something new, and it doesn't last. They're going to be back. So where do you take these guys?
I think I'm gonna try to take them back to my hovel. I think my character sheet says I could start with one.
That's right. Okay. So you indeed have a hovel, and
And on
what?
the way there, I make sure to like ask ask Jessica a lot of questions because
Yeah,
what's going
yeah,
on here,
yeah.
how do you survive?
We're gonna have that sort of exposition, getting to know each other conversation here in a second. But let's get the hobble on the map. So Kyle, I can't remember. I think you guys are having trouble moving this around, but let me get a hobble for you on our map. Are we all looking at that? Yeah. All right. So we have our map out, Matthew, and what we're going to do is we're going to put the hobble somewhere on the map,
Taking notes.
and uh, Kyle, I put it right there where I'm painting. Can you move it?
No, I can't move it.
All right, one second. This is one thing on Roll20 I've never really figured out very well. It's a matter, I think I have to give you permissions. Let me see if I can figure, okay, all players controlled by, let's try that. Try it now.
Oh, yeah, I got it.
Great. So go ahead and put that wherever you want, anywhere outside that red zone. It's not going to be in the Deinonychus territory. We know that much.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be right on the border, right around here-ish.
Okay. And I don't think we need to answer it now, but start thinking about like what your hovel's like. And we had one of your moves is related to your hovel. When you trek to your hovel, this is your move called Homeward Bound. When you trek to your hovel, roll plus clever. So I think let's get that out on the table. So roll 2d6 plus clever.
I rolled a 5 plus my 2. That's a 7.
Okay. So on a 7, you make it, but you choose one from the list. So there's 2 bullet points. You have to choose one of those. You're forced to take an indirect route and arrive hours later than planned, or there is a threat waiting for you.
Indirect route. I think I'm being really careful not to lead the Deinonychus back home.
Right. Maybe you're following a like a waterway or something, so like it washes away your scent.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of a waterway on our map then. Freehand, we'll make it blue. And we'll just draw a little bit of a line. Maybe there's like a, I don't know, maybe it runs, make it kind of swirly, and it, comes out into the bay or into the ocean. Okay. And so you guys are walking along, and this woman, and what does she look like to them? I don't recall if you described that already, but let's do it again.
Well, for her personality, I picked, what's the term? Feral, I believe. Yeah, because she's gone a bit wild out here, and the like clothes match. It was a uniform once, but it's gotten fairly tattered and patched up with bits of other uniforms, and she's, definitely lost a lot of weight, and that whole I haven't been eating much since, and just like very twitchy, very, very nervous.
Sure. And I think we had established like CADCore had these sort of gray fatigues. So is that kind of the bedrock of your scattered rags of clothing?
Yeah.
And it is cold here, so I'm sure you're wearing as much as you possibly can. But I think it is part of your character is that you have one of your equipment items is a terrible stench. So this feral, stinky woman in rags, has saved the day for you guys and is leading you down this stream, splashing along in this cold stream. And let's go ahead, Matthew. You were saying you had lots of questions. I'm going to just leave it to you guys. I'm going to shut up. You guys have a getting to know each other, sharing exposition moment.
All right. I guess I end up asking Jessica, what's going on here? How did you manage to survive this long? Well, I don't know how long she's been surviving, but how do where you come from? It is not an ordered structure of questions. It is very much definitely, panic and disbelief.
And yeah, you get the gist that I was a custodian who just was in the right place to survive, and through a mix of luck and being very, very scared, I've managed to make it this far. Mostly by just staying the hell away from the Deinonychuses. Wait,
so you work for CAD Corp? You're maintenance, not security, not science, just
Yeah. I mean, I did work for them. I probably frick, they've probably fired me. Oh, laid me off. I don't know. Whatever they do when you die on the job.
Where is CADCorp in all this?
I haven't seen anyone since the dinosaurs came out. That they've got that base further up the coast, but it's a ways from here, and it's pretty far into the Deinonychus territory.
At this point, Alex descends into a babble of like, sciencey stuff, with the gist being that she asks like, why is it snowing? Why are the dinosaurs different? Sort of asking questions that she'd like Jessica to answer, but let's be honest, we're not sure Jessica can answer, and I'm kind of like counting on Jason here to sort of like help us navigate the space between what questions Jessica can answer and what is actually still a mystery to everyone, in the player group.
So I think Jessica doesn't have answers to any of that. You were in cleanup and maintenance, and you were based here in the lower jungle, and you didn't spend any time in the real high tech facilities. You weren't here very long. So yeah, you're just as much in the dark as everyone else, really.
I actually have a question. Is like, I feel like one thing that Alex would never consider, is the realm of science fiction, and I wonder if there's a move, whether in Escape from Dino Island or in general, that could sort of like yank on that, because I feel like if anyone could like take a wild guess or make a wild supposition, wrong or correct, within this realm, it would probably be Jules. Like,
Well,
because I'm trying to imagine, like, was this like, as far as Jessica's perspective is concerned, was the incident like suddenly a bright flash of light and there were dinosaurs, or was it like that they emerged from underground, or like, is it temporal? Is it is it time machines? I don't know.
well, I don't know if Jules knows any answers either. Jules, did you want to share any of your weird experiences you've had, like the coincidence of seeing the exact same dinosaur you were reading about as you got off the boat? Do you want to share your out of body experience of experiencing looking at Alex from the jungle with a deep hunger? Do you want to share any of that weirdness that you've had?
Yeah, I mean, I think um, and I also have a science fiction book that I'm carrying with me, this mysterious island, and it's you know, you know, Jules will say, yeah, this is, you know, this is like something out of some type of crazy, far fetched kind of author's mind, and that they're already, you know, uh, there've already been kind of, beyond the attack that we've experienced, things that just aren't adding up. Um, I don't think I told you, but that little dinosaur that I saw on the beach, I could swear that I've seen that before. That actually a short time before I was kind of looking through some stuff on the web, and kind of this crazy website I got into that was like doing all this kind of speculative stuff about dinosaurs, whether they could be uh, brought back from, the past through some type of DNA manipulation. And I don't think I told you, but that little dinosaur, I touched it, and it was warm, right? I mean, it was. I mean, it felt like a scaly thing, but it also kind of felt like a warm cat or something like that. Uh, I don't know. I mean, I got this old book by Jules Verne about a strange island, and the thing about the mysterious island is that there was an intelligence behind the island, right? That there was, people that were manipulating things, and it sounds kind of like CAD core or something like that on this island, right, that's kind of working things out, but probably not really knowing what it's really unleashing. Clearly they had no idea of that. And
I
he
want to
kind of
ask.
looks down at his wound, and when he thinks about CAD core and the dinosaurs, he's kind of relating that very much to the fact that he's got this injury.
I want to ask Robbie a question. I just want to say, like, for the visualization of, like, for me to visualize the character of Jules, like, um, as a very much eager and enthusiastic child, is he supposed to be kind of like more innocent or more geeky, or because like I'm hearing you speak in this technical language, so I wonder if like that's also I don't know if that's how you visualize the character, that he's someone who rambles in a very like like
Yeah, I think he does. Yeah, he rambles, and his thought meanders, but
yeah,
it always seems to latch on, though, to things that you wouldn't expect from a 13-year-old kid. I mean,
exactly you.
yeah,
Mm-mm.
things about him that seem kind of 13-year-old and kind of perhaps a little kind of scattered and meandering, but he also has these kind of connections that he's always kind of firing
Yeah,
off.
and he's very knowledgeable as well. So I was wondering, like, that's how I'm gonna visualize in my head, like even basically a little further from the kids from the Jurassic Park movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys are going along now, and as we said, Jessica is leading you in this roundabout way, and she's been very quiet so far. She shared a little bit with you, but clearly, it sounds like she doesn't know a lot. And Alex, Dr. Morales, you spot something. It's a sign of a very dangerous dinosaur. What is this sign, and what is the dinosaur that, what is this what type of dinosaur is this?
I'd say it would be one of the heavily armored dinosaurs. So I'm thinking somewhere along the line of either a Triceratops type creature or an Ankylosaurus, the one that's like looks like a living stone golem with a weapon for a tail, something like that. If I recall what the Ankylosaurus looks like.
Sure. That was the same type that you guys met on the beach, but it was just a cute little hatchling. But when they're big, they weigh like, 8 tons, and they have thick armor and a tail that could break your skull and all that.
Another
Usually,
possible
go ahead.
Sorry, another possibility would be a Stegosaurus, which is a herbivore with a brain the size of a walnut, supposedly, but it also has a tail that's like super spiked.
Right, those spikes.
Yeah.
All three of those dinosaurs are generally considered herbivores, but maybe Salvador Choi has a theory that the one that you spot is actually much more dangerous. Would have been a very hostile, aggressive kind of dinosaur. What is does that work for you? And lock it in. Which one do you want to go with? A Triceratops, an Ankylosaurus, or a Stegosaurus?
I very much like what you suggested about Troy having different ideas about what that dinosaur and the dinosaur reflecting that. But I think I would defer to Jules or Jessica to prompt like which of those three choices are. Clearly, not to sound indecisive, clearly I have a lot of ideas, but I think the two of them should have some say in what to narrow it down on.
And I think Jessica, having lived here now for a month or two, would know which ones to watch out for. So let me bounce that to Kyle then. Of those three different types of dinosaurs, which one do you think is the one you've been watching out for?
Ankylosaurus?
Okay. I like it. So Ankylosaurus. And let me bounce it back to Matthew then. What is the sign that you see that an Ankylosaurus lives here? Maybe you see it, I guess, but maybe it's a sign that it's passed or been through here.
You mean so not a physical sign? You mean like tracks or patterns and
Right,
stuff.
right,
Right.
right.
Okay. In my head, I just thought warning Ankylosaur.
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet. I would say that it's been leaving. You can see the foliage sort of part to accommodate its girth, and there may have also been signs that it has been okay. I got a better picture here. So there is a fence, or at least some sort of like divider that separates the pen where the territory where the ankylosaurus shares a room with other dinosaurs, I guess. But what happens is there is a part of it that is broken down, and you can see sort of like space where the ankylosaurus has been scuffling with uh, it's very chaotic, so I'm not sure if I can tell if it's an ankylosaurus or another dinosaur that has been fighting it. But definitely, there's been aggression here, and as a result, it's there are more tracks leading out of it that suggest that after the scuffle, the dinosaurs found path to other places.
Okay. How about this? How about you're going along this stream and you see like a duckbill dinosaur, which are sort of these medium-sized dinosaurs that are herbivores. Probably not even Salvatore Choi would feel that they're very dangerous, and they're plant eaters. And it's lying dead along this stream, and you can see that its chest has been caved in. Like it doesn't have any bites on it, but you can see that its chest has been caved in. And in your paleontology brain, you're like, aha, that looks like the fierce, deadly tail of the Ankylosaurus. Um, you certainly can just see that and know that. You can examine it a little bit if you want. If you want to roll some dice, what do? You think?
Oh yeah, yeah. Before we proceed, I'll definitely do that. But before we proceed, did we get any advancements last session?
No, Robbie was asking that too. What happens in this game is once you reach a milestone, you reach a certain point in the story, everybody will get an advancement, and that's all there is for experience in this game.
All right, Roger, that's cool.
Yeah,
Excuse me, cat. Sorry, my cat got in my face.
no problem.
Um,
So yeah, you want to get down and check it out, pull out
yeah,
your,
definitely,
I don't know,
definitely.
does your character have like tools or,
Dinosaur expert, I think, is the relevant move.
right, right. You have
Yeah.
basic excavation tools. Okay, so
Mm,
let's roll some dice then. So grab your dice and roll plus clever.
yeah. I'm just gonna quickly check the basic moves, see if there's something that is also
Okay.
interesting and relevant to the
Yeah, so this would be
situation.
a safety move. And as we're going through the jungle now, you guys are safe. So if you want to kind of like, try to trigger one of these, this might be good for everybody to read these if you want to get an opportunity to tell a story. And to remind you, telling a story is very important. At the end of the game, you're going to roll dice and you're going to add the number of stories, and that will decide your fate of your character in the end. So our
Mm,
safety moves are lay of the land. When you and a companion take a quiet moment to get to a good vantage point and orient yourself, you tell a story and roll clever. Instruct, when you guide another hero through a risky task that you know how to do, but they must do because you're either communicating, et cetera, et cetera. Tell a story and roll steady. And then scavenge, which is when you and another hero take a quiet moment to search for useful objects or information.
it's okay. So I want to propose a role in a scene.
Okay.
Um, what's this? Can we say that the dinosaur that is lying on its side with a wound, with a severe cave in, is still kind of breathing its last gasp?
Sure.
All right. And what I want to do is I want to do instruct, which is when you guide another hero through a risky task that you know how to do. Tell them a story and roll steady. And so what I want to do is I want to go over to the dinosaur and sort of like put my hands in it and see what happened. Sort of like um, understand what the dinosaur is feeling and what it's gone through.
Okay.
And I will guide Jessica through this situation. Um, yeah. Uh,
Sure.
sure. teaching her to.
So, yeah, just
Uh,
kind of like give me a quick feel of like what you're saying, and assume that you know what this thing's feeling. So what's a little piece of the kind of things that you're saying to Jessica?
all right. Um, let's see. First, first I'll roll and tell the story, and then we'll see what happens. This is roll plus steady.
Uh,
Oh, sorry. You have a different thing in mind?
no, let's do it. Yeah, okay, let's do it. Yeah, you're probably right. So go ahead and roll the dice and let's see what you get, and then we'll go from
Yeah. All right. Rolling. That is a 4 or 5. That is a 4.
there. Okay. Your good luck is continuing from last week. Okay, so on a miss, you confuse, anger, or distract them. Their choice. The task is botched beyond salvaging. You've made matters worse. So, first of all, let's go ahead and hear a little bit of the story. We'll still give you credit for that. So, on your
Okay.
character sheet, there's a list of stories. I think it's in the bottom left of your character sheet. And
Yeah.
pick one of those if you haven't already, mark it, and tell us a little bit of the story you're telling as you try to tell Jessica about what this dinosaur is feeling.
All right. So, I will. So the situation is that as I approach the dinosaur, trying to get a lay of the situation, I explained to Jessica how I fell in love with dinosaurs, which is, um, it's very similar to Jules. Like when I was a kid, I read science fiction like him, and what happened was that sort of like instilled in me a passion for like the ancient stuff, the ancient like civilizations and science and stuff. And over time, I've sort of like fallen out of that whole science fiction thing and became more obsessed with like the natural stuff, and yeah. And one day, um, I found out about dinosaurs being sort of like based on birds, and so that gave me like a lot of more appreciation for the creatures. Yeah. And as I'm like rambling this, I guess it leads me into a bad situation.
Right. So, Jessica, does this rambling paleontologist confuse you, anger you, or distract you?
Anger mostly. I'm just I don't care why you got what made you love dinosaurs. They're trying to eat us.
And you guys look around, and there's no sign of Jules. Jules, you have wandered off because you saw or heard, saw something wonderful. What did you see that's so wonderful that it drew you away?
Um, I think we've been so fixated on the dinosaurs that we haven't really focused on any other kind of animals that are in the area. And I I saw something kind of flitting through right through the jungle, um, with kind of caught a glimpse of like a really bright red, and I managed to get a better right by kind of tracking it along a little bit. Managed to get a better glimpse of it, and yeah, it was a kind of large bird of prey. Kind of probably the largest bird I've ever seen. Right, at least the largest bird I've ever seen that was capable of flight. I mean, and not as big as an ostrich, right? But certainly the biggest kind of bird I've been able to see.
Okay. And I know you said we focused on the dinosaurs, but I'm looking at the two dino handouts, and there are a few of them here that looks kind of like that. Is it like a flightless bird, or is this a bird that can fly? Do you think?
Yeah, it can fly. Yeah.
Okay,
Can it
and
be a giant ar- Sorry.
go ahead.
Can it be a giant Archaeopteryx?
Right. The Archaeopteryx was like the first bird as its claim to fame, right? So it looks kind of like a bird, or it looks like a mix between a dinosaur and a bird.
Hmm.
Is that what you're thinking? Or are you thinking something much more bird-like?
No, I think something I think maybe something that where I'm kind of trying to figure out which one it is, right? That it's kind of like on this kind of
Okay.
twilight zone. At least for me. I mean, I'm not an expert in the field, but
Right, right. So, for reference for Robbie and Kyle, the Dino 2 handout has one of the categories is called small theropods, and it has a picture of a couple of little bird-like dinosaurs, Microraptor and Umbopteryx. Um, would those fit kind of what you're thinking, Robbie?
yeah, the Embopteryx looks kind of interesting.
Okay. Okay. So this you come into this clearing and you see this Ambopteryx is sort of it's landed down on the ground and it's pecking away at maybe like an anthill or something, and you've approached and it looks over at you and you feel a connection to it. You feel a warmth, you feel an affinity with this thing. It's a very strange feeling you've never really had before. What do you do? And it's looking at you. It seems friendly. But it's very interested.
I think I don't approach it directly, but and I'm certainly ready to dive or bolt if I need to. But I do want to get closer, but through a kind of moving a little bit also to the side as I'm also moving closer. So at that kind of angle, not kind of confronting it directly, but moving up.
Hmm. And you hear a flutter of wings around you, and a bunch more of these come flocking into this little clearing. Most of them landing on the trees around you, but one of them lands right on your left arm, not on your damaged arm, but I kind of like your left arm, like your upper arm, and it's just sitting there, kind of looking at you. And you can see behind its ear, it's got these very simple feathers, but on its head, kind of like behind where I don't know if birds even have ears, but do birds have ears? I don't know. But I guess, yeah, I don't know. But anyways, where its ear would be, I guess, if it had an ear, if it does have an ear, uh, uh, there's a tattoo that's on its head, and it's the CAD symbol. It's that CAD Corporation, the double helix slash caduceus snake thing. Um, and this one,
The trademark bird was inevitable.
right? This one lands there, and it too. It seems it's grasping onto you with these talons, but not in a harsh way. And it's too is looking at you. And there's like I don't know, maybe a dozen of these things in these trees around you, all looking at you.
I mean, Jules will. I mean, he's kind of a little afraid, but a little fascinated. And I mean, it strikes Jules that they almost seem tame in some way. And I think he takes a kind of careful look around to see, is there any other sign of, someone or something that would be kind of behind what these birds are doing.
Okay. I like the sound of that. That sounds like, well, this is pretty weird, but if you want to go for it, we can do the scavenge move. You have to tell a story. Tell the bird a story. Tell tell the bird a story and roll plus what is it? Clever.
All right, I need to go to I gotta get to my like my because I know I've already told the story.
Yeah, you told one last time. Looks like you told
Something cool a friend taught me.
yeah. Be sure when you guys tell a story, scribble it down somewhere because I will not remember how many you told.
Um, Let me see. I'm going to tell the story about a time when I was really brave, which is going to
Okay.
be like a story that is partly going to kind of be to myself as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell a story of a time when me and some of my friends were hiking, and we were in the woods and ran across a situation where there was a bear with some cubs, and some of my friends were ahead of me and kind of stirred them up. That they kind of came across them, and it was really, they were too close for comfort. But that I was the one who kind of kept his cool at that time, and I had kind of remembered, right, kind of little things that I had read about, right, bears and things that you should do, and I was able to kind of get up to the friends in front of me, kind of put myself kind of in front there, but was talking everybody back, right, and kind of cooled off that situation.
Okay. I like it. Let's see those dice. Plus
All right.
clever.
And I think I have a +1 clever. So let me get.
Okay. Not that I'm counting, but I think you guys have failed what five,
Yeah.
five times in a row, maybe? All right.
Yes.
A beautiful story. All right. On a miss, you find something bad. Okay, so the bird looks at you, and its mood suddenly changes dramatically. It alights off your arm. The other ones in the forest all alight up into the sky. The one on your arm is startled so much that it sort of scratches your arm a little bit. It's not going to be a mechanical wound or anything, but just for flavor. And they go flutter, 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 and bursting out of the undergrowth nearby is an ankylosaurus. It's
Yay!
it's 14 feet long. It's 7 feet wide. It's short and squat. It's got thick armor. It's got these spikes along its edge of its body, that kind of almost flat body shape that it has. This little head, it has armor on it. It's got this waving tail with this heavy, bony club on the end of it that could, crack your skull if it hits you, and it bursts out. And these things hate to be near anything else. They just want to be left alone. And here you are in its favorite grazing ground, and it's very angry. Jules, what do you do?
Um, I'm now let me ask this. Is it like when I first see it, do I think it's mainly drawn like its focus is on all these birds that have been or
No,
it's
it's
on
on
me.
you. It came along and it spotted somebody in its way and where it wants to be, and it's going to get you out of here one way or another. So it's snorting, it's grunting, it's thrashing that tail about. It starts to kind of like move at you, but also moving kind of sideways so it can wave that tail to hit you.
Um,
Yeah.
if
Well,
if Jules is sorry,
um well, I mean, a couple things that are crossing my mind. One is to yell out for the others to come to my aid, but also in the meantime, um, I think my best bet is and I don't know how you would consider this mechanically. It's not going to be entirely to run away, but to use. I mean, we're in the woods, right?
Yeah,
I think it would be to look for kind of trees, right? Because I'm obviously going to be, I think, a lot more maneuverable around trees and to kind of figure out like how to position myself tactically. So it's going to, you know, have a hard time kind of getting any kind of a straight jump on me or anything like that. And it's going to have to maneuver
sure.
around, barge into trees and things like that.
Right. So in mechanical terms, you really could do both. Your move is called and
Right.
it says whenever you cry out to another hero for help, they must answer your call. So basically, you'll call out to one of the others, and they'll just suddenly be in our scene with us. Then I'll ask you, well, what do you want to do now? Now that Jessica's here with you or Matthew's here, so it's really up to you. Do you want to take an action on your own, or do you want to bring someone else into the fun with you?
I think I'll bring somebody else into the fun with me.
Okay. So what do you yell out, and we'll figure out who comes a running based on that.
I think I say, ah, I think I have found what did in that other dinosaur, and he's in much better shape than the one you're looking at, and I think maybe you want to look.
Okay. So you get about half of that out before then you have to take action as this thing comes at you. But that sounds like you're drawing in Alex. Is that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So Alex, you enter our scene. Go ahead and place yourself in our scene. You come in. Where are you going to be in relation to all this stuff, you think?
I mean, I don't recall in which general direction
He's off the
Jules had to.
stream. Yeah, he wandered away from the stream, not too
Yeah,
far.
yeah. So I guess when I hear the cry, I sort of like look around. This is all just cinematic. Look around and try to figure out where he went. And once I see like where his sneakers have like left a track, I run after it, and I see the dinosaur. And I think what I'm going to try is I'll say that when I come into the scene, I don't immediately see Jules um, right away, and when I do, it's a little too late. He's running in to hide, and so I try to distract the dinosaur. I do look over there, and when you create a distraction to protect a friend, say what it is and roll clever.
Okay. So what do you
All
do to
right.
try to distract it?
Um, what I try to do is, let's see. Um, hmm, I guess hmm, I would try to throw rocks at the trees on the opposite side of this area and hopefully that will steer what few remaining birds are in that area that will catch the Ankylosaurus's attention.
Okay, that sounds like a reasonable plan. Let's see if the dice agree with us for once.
All right,
Roll plus clever.
all right. Oh my gosh, 10 plus 2, 12. Yay.
There it is. Okay,
There it
so
is.
on a 10 plus, you draw the dinosaur's attention where you intend. Your friend is safe. So indeed, you throw these rocks over there. A bunch of those, what do we call them? Emboteryx, Amdopteryx, I think is maybe how you say it. Anyways, there's a bunch of them that were looking at this, and they scatter and squeak and go up in the air, and the luckily not terribly intelligent Ankylosaurus turns that way and starts moving that way and starts thrashing the bushes. And in that chaos, the two of you slink away and reconnect with Jessica. Let's pick up back at the stream.
Yeah, and Jules will relate that he was I was drawn off by those kind of dinosaur bird creatures, and it was the strangest thing. I mean, at first I didn't know what I just wanted to get a better look, but then I got into that little clearing, and there were a bunch of them, and they seemed to be, I don't know, kind of friendly, and one of them even kind of perched on me.
I
And
see.
when I looked down, it had that helix thing. It had that CAD core like in sign tattooed to it.
To that description of the trademark of the Catcorp brand, Alex like visibly reacts, like sort of like wide eyed, at like why anyone would even do such a thing. And before she can act on that, she can really like linger on that reaction. She quickly turns to Jules and says that she should stay close. Don't ever let yourself be separated like that again.
And Jessica, you know that the dinosaurs all have those tattoos, those CAD core tattoos, and you know that they're all. You don't know how they do it. You don't know where they came from or any of that, but you know that the company is making these dinosaurs. They grow them in a lab, I guess, or something, and it's above your pay grade. You know the real details, but you know that much. I don't know. Have you mentioned any of that to these guys?
I think so. Yeah, I was probably telling Alex about that while Jules was like wandering off.
Okay. Let's pick up a short time later. You arrive at the hovel. And Kyle, Jessica, what's your hovel look like?
I think it was basically it was an old, not quite like a game warden's shed, but uh, there had to be some people out here to like manage the environment and stuff, and it's basically a place where they used to stash some supplies and stuff. And I've, you know, managed to hide a bit of food and other stuff inside there.
Right. Yeah, and maybe this is part of your job. Is maybe you were like a landscaper, basically. Yeah, and so I think with that arrival at the hovel, this not at all impressive shed that's starting to suffer some wear, and let us take our break there. Let's take 10 minutes. Go ahead and I'll see you guys 9:24 my clock, whatever plus 10 on yours, and I'll see you then, and we'll pick it up.
Ta-da.
You okay with like the mysterious aspects of your character, Robbie? Cool.
Yeah, I'm still thinking about the my I know this move, which may get attached to some of that kind of mystery that's going on with the character.
Cool. You there, Matthew?
Hello?
Hello.
All right, just making sure.
Good. Everybody ready? All right. So let's pick up. You've gotten, you've thrown your packs down. You've gotten as comfortable as possible here in this hovel in the jungle, and you're very tired. It was a roundabout way. It was a rough day all around, and the sun is setting. A chill is in the air. Jessica, do you regularly start fires here to stay warm? What do you think?
No, I think I'm too worried about like the smoke drawing attention. Just anything I can find for like insulation.
Okay. So it's pretty miserable here. It's cold. It's scary. It's dark. Um, and there's these rolling clouds going overhead as it gets dark, and the flashes of that lightning that Jessica you've had. It seems to be constant in this place. There's always these roiling clouds and this flashing lightning. Only rarely does it actually rain, though. Does anybody want to have a little scene or do anything before you fall asleep, basically? Going once, twice. All right. You each, fade away, bundled up as much of the stuff that you brought with you and whatever Jessica has to spare in terms of bedding and sleeping bags and whatnot. And I think Jules, you're a youngster and you've had you've lost a lot of blood, and you had a exciting um, adrenaline-filled day. I think you're probably the one first to fade away into sleep, and you have a dream, and you dream of suddenly you're in a room sitting at a table, and there's about 10 rough metal chairs around this plain table in a white walled room with no windows and like a solid like jail cell kind of door. And in each of the chairs around this table are children like you. Uh, and you're younger and they're younger, maybe 8 or 9. And they're all sitting at this table, and they're all in hospital gowns, and you're wearing a hospital gown with like slippers, and they're all staring ahead, sitting upright, staring ahead with sort of glazed over eyes, blank looks. And over this intercom, you hear your Aunt Maggie's voice say, "Dormy." And then the dream changes, and you're in a dark room, and your aunt Maggie is there with you in this dark room. And by the way, this is what I have for Aunt Maggie. And Aunt Maggie, she has a big birthday cake, and she sets it down on the ground in between the two of you. She has a smile, and she takes out, like a fire lighter, and she lights each of the candles. And as she lights the candles, it gets brighter and brighter and brighter until it's too bright. And then the dream ends. And Alex, is it you or is it Jessica that falls asleep last, do you think?
I think I would be the one to fall asleep at last for sure.
Okay. So, Jessica's been here left. She knows that she's kind of safe, but for whatever reason, you're just unable to doze away. And you hear Jules sort of like crying or like mumbling in his sleep. And you look over and you see he's kind of rolled over and he's obviously having some sort of bad dream. And you see that his hair, I'm not sure what his hair looks like, but his hair has sort of fallen away. And you can see that behind his ear, he has a cadcore tattoo, just like the dinosaurs.
Uh, I mean, uh, like I mean that's not what Alex says, but definitely it's a like OMFG, WTF moment.
Sure.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
So morning arrives, and Jessica, what do you have to eat, if anything, for these guys, for yourself?
I think she probably raided a pantry at some point and like some. I mean, there had to be at least some shelf staple stuff.
Sure. So yeah, you've moved around the jungle, and there's other small facilities like this one scattered throughout the jungle. And over the last month or so, you've moved around. Sometimes you even get desperate and move into the Deinonychus area. Maybe that's why you happen to be nearby when these guys needed help. So yeah, you've got like a can opener, and you open up some beans or whatever it might be, and I guess the question maybe comes to all of your minds is, what's the plan? What are you going to do now?
I'd like to take this morning to sort of like respond to a question that you asked earlier, which is to say that I will do something in this downtime, but this time it's the morning.
Okay,
And I'd like to get a lay of the land. Uh, and this time, I'll say that Alex, like unless this is like unless there's a mechanical penalty for this, Alex did not get much sleep. Period.
okay,
And so when Jessica wakes up, I assume Jessica's the first to wake up.
sure.
She sees Alex sort of like taking a quiet moment to get to a good vantage point and sort of like orient herself. That's lay of the land.
Okay,
And I tell a story, then roll clever. And the story that Alex tells, as she starts, I'm sure Jessica is already getting ready to roll her eyes, which is about like so she carries this like fossil in her pocket. I'm not sure yet what it is, but and she tells the story of how of the story behind that fossil. And what happens was when she was on her first amateur dig or whatever, her first, I guess freshman dig. I'm not sure. I don't know anything about paleontology school. Yeah,
make it
she
up.
she alerted the sort of like startled the wildlife, and that led her to running. And she fell into a hole, uh, like beneath the stream, and that's where she got severely injured. But she also found like a fossil, and that's the fossil that she has in her pocket. And basically, what it taught her to never. She's never been comfortable. Like now, she's hyper vigilant in the wild and in the field. Like she just can't sleep, and she's just so like you know. I guess I'm not sure if the word is adrenaline, but definitely hyper like alert. Yeah.
Anxious.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, mark that story, and that sounds good. And let's roll them dice.
Rolling them dice.
This is a lay of the land, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe there's a high point near to the hovel that you guys wander over to and eating a can of beans, listening to the story, rolling your eyes, whatnot.
Yep. Let's see. Roll 2d6. That is a 7, 8, 9. 9.
Okay. Okay, on a hit, I'll tell you about two landmarks, one natural, one man-made, that you can see. Okay. You can see in the foggy morning, the cold air of night and the sun, leads to some fog here. You can see kind of rising out of the fog, across a valley, there's sort of a rise, almost like a spire or a rocky outcropping that rises up kind of above. And so it's kind of a high point. And at the top of this high point, you do see that there's a building there. And in addition, there's like a cable car that seems to go from this building on this this elevated point across towards the cliff, where that installation is that's on our map, the CAD core installation. So I know, Matthew, you don't have the map in front of you. So the implication of all of this is that if you could somehow get there and use that cable car, you might be able to get to the installation without having to move through the Deinonychus territory, the perilous Deinonychus territory. Now, I will tell you, Jessica, you of course have seen this all this time, and you have a move, if you want, called been around the block. When someone mentions a specific location, you can roll plus clever if you think you've been there, and then we can see if you know much about it or have a way to get there or special knowledge. Do you want to roll them dice and take them chances, or just go blind into this?
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
take a chance.
So go ahead and roll plus clever.
I got a 12.
Great. All right, the dice have swung. You know exactly where it is. We will mark it on the map, and you get +1 rolls on your way of traveling there. So I'm gonna, let's see. I don't know if we have anything that any of our icons look like a cable car. I think there was something like it though. Hold on, let me scan here. I don't see it. So I'll just put generic building on the map. Let me see. Okay. Kyle, on the map on the right side, sort of out in the water, I'm painting at a building icon. Go ahead and drag that where you think this thing is, this outcropping with the cable car building.
Okay.
Yep, that's the one. You should be able to move it.
Yeah.
There we go. Cool. Right there?
Yeah.
Okay. So fairly near to the Deinonychus territory, there's this rise and this building at the top of it that potentially might give you a quick way, a safer way to get to where you want to get. Line. I'm just going to draw a line for the cable. What color should we do that? Let's do that. Let's make that a green. No. There we go. So that's where you're at. So Jessica, why is it you think you haven't done, why haven't you done this yourself?
I just didn't think there was anything waiting for me on the other side. Like, I mean, I don't know exactly what happened on the day it all went down, but it seems like the worst of it was over at the northern installation, and I mean,
Right.
Why take the risk?
Right. And let me remind you guys, part of our our setup of our game is that you guys picked that away off the island is that there's a radio tower that you might be able to signal for help. So that's kind of where I'm leading with all this. And you know that radio tower is up on the top of that plateau. Okay, so Alex, you spot this, and you and Jessica, have a conversation about it. What's the next step? Jules, you're just starting to roll out of bed.
I guess the next step is to, chart a course there.
Sure.
Yeah, I guess we have to. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm ready to get off the island.
Right. You guys tell her that you might be able to send a signal from the radio tower.
But one thing I want to know though also is where is I need to come to this island, right? And so did Jules and Regina. Like, where is CADCore in all this? Like, is that a CADCore building?
Yes, Jessica would know that. That CADCore, you know that there's a building at the base of the cliff that's a CADCore facility, and she also knows that there's a much more sophisticated facility and a helipad and other stuff at the top of the cliff and a plateau where the radio tower is. So yeah,
Because I know.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Because I need to know. I need to know, why Troy asked us to come here, why, and where, where everything is and all this.
Right.
And moreover, now that I've seen the tattoo on Jules's head, which by the way, I'm not telling him is on his head. Okay. Why he invited Jules in the first place? Because now it just seems super fishy.
Yeah, so Salvatore Choi. As far as you know, Salvatore Choi. I mean, Jules kind of knew this. The information she dug out of her aunt's computer pointed to Salvatore Choi and said something like, if we need somebody to go to the island, this guy is crazy enough about dinosaurs to go for it. So she's like, she went, or Jules went to Salvatore Choi because he knew from Maggie's records that this guy would be, the guy to go to actually set up an expedition. So when Salvatore Choi heard dinosaurs, he's like, where do I sign the check? And set up this whole thing. And you guys were to Jules convinced him to let him come, but Salvatore's like, you can come, but you have to wait until, first we're going to go and make sure it's safe, and then you can follow up. So that's kind of the backstory.
Yeah.
Okay. But he never said anything about CADCore or, dead people or anything like that.
Because I think my curiosity and my confusion are definitely overwhelming my danger instinct.
Sure. So let's pick up you two come back from this vantage point and you see Jules has woke up and he's opening a can of beans with the can opener. Have a little scene between the three of you, and I'll shut up for a minute.
Well, Jules, as he's eating the beans, very hungry, voracious eating, but is like, well, I certainly feel a lot better than I did yesterday. That rest, I got a good rest. I feel much more revitalized.
And as Jules is talking about that, I sort of reach over and try to make sure redress his wound, just in case, just to make sure it's clean and all that stuff. And while I'm doing that, I asked Alex asks Jessica, have you considered, bathing? I mean, the stream is there, there's water. Surely the thought occurred to you once these past few weeks.
There's water, but there isn't heating. I mean, if you want to strip to your skivvies in ice cold water, then yeah, go right ahead. I like to keep all my fingers and toes.
So I'm I'm checking the wound and all
Okay.
Yeah, I think Jules probably is wincing a bit as that happens. But I think he's Jules is more. I mean, with I think a rest and also food in the belly does a lot for your morale. So he's feeling better, right? More positive about things.
Right. And, just as a side note, the wound you'll carry that with you unless you can find someone, a doctor of some sort, to actually, care for it. So it can be healed, but you need to find, a professional. Um, Here's Matthew, I think. There we
that.
go.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
No problem. So I guess who springs the plan? Who lays out the day's operation?
I think in the absence of Regina, I'm going to have to try to lay out this plan.
Sure.
Let's see. How would we go about this? Like, are we talking from purely mechanics, or are we talking about pure art?
No, I guess really just say, I mean, who's going to say, let's go here and let's do it this way? I mean, I guess that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah. So I asked Jessica, like, are we sure the cable cars are up to snuff? Like they've been maintained. They've been, you know.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
they haven't been. I was just going to say, I mean, based on your role, you know where it is, but you don't know much more about it.
yeah. That I have no idea. I'm pretty sure no one's tuned him up in at least a month.
Mm,
Maybe they're working fine. Maybe they're completely broken. I have no idea. I
um,
don't want to hike however many miles it is.
well,
I
at least a
mean,
month is enough to. A month is short enough time that it hasn't rusted or anything like that, basically. So, I think we can do that. Yeah. So maybe you can show us the way to the cable cars if you're up to it.
Absolutely.
sure. Okay. So let me jump in there to kind of like, so let's cut to your journey there. And I think for this one, I'm just going to, well, you're not going to have any, um, extreme dangers. So we're going to just kind of montage a little bit of the journey from the hovel to the outcropping, which isn't too far. You go through some jungle, you go down into like the river valley, the stream valley, I guess, if that's a word, and then you rise up this outcropping. So let's say Jessica. Yeah, Jessica. Um, what sort of, and there's not going to be any dice rolling on this, so just make it up, off your cuff. But what kind of dangers do you have them avoid, and specifically, the only reason they are able to avoid it is because of your knowledge. Tell us about how you avoid a danger.
I think I've gotten a decent idea for what the routines are of the Deinonychus. So just like I know more or less their hunting patterns and try to. Well, actually, no, as we're staying out of that territory. So the Ankylosaurus, I kind of know their patterns. Like they tend to go into these places in the morning, and we can avoid them this way. Is just watching out for that sort of stuff.
Right. And Matthew, you guys encounter some totally harmless and cute dinosaurs along the way. Tell us about what kind of cuties you come across and how they impress you.
I'm thinking of maybe like the like the Compsognathus and the Dilophosaurus. I'm not sure. Like, you remember that bird from Jurassic Park, the one that has like the big fan feathers and spits venom directly into Dennis Nedry's face, and
Yep, yep,
yeah, and Wayne Knight's face. That's the name of the actor, right? Yeah.
yep, yep.
Like that, but cute, and also if I read somewhere apparently that venom spitting ability doesn't exist.
No.
So instead he has like this beautiful peacock like plumage that substitutes like the fan around his neck, and the compsognathus are kind of like these cute sort of chicken reptile things. And yeah, so I guess that one like impresses us with its cool feathers, and the other one impresses us with the way they sort of like organize themselves into picking up bugs and plants and sort of like feeding each other
Hmm.
as a pack.
Some
Yeah,
advanced social
yeah,
skills. Yeah,
yeah,
and
yeah,
maybe
yeah,
that helps prove some of Salvatore Choi's theories, right?
yeah.
Um,
Like insects, even. You know what I mean?
right. And Robbie, when you get to the outcropping, it's a bit of a rough climb to climb up this outcropping. You all manage it okay, but your arm really hinders you. Uh, who helps you and through a rough spot? And what's that rough spot like? And who is it that helps you? And how do they help you?
Um, it makes sense here since we're doing the climbing thing that it would be Jessica. That um, I don't know. I mean, that like sometimes, right? I have to, sometimes there's some pretty intense kind of physical climbing that has to go on, and sometimes that left arm of mine that really got you know battered with that first encounter just is uh not capable of kind of doing it during some of these really precipitous areas. And uh I think Jessica always kind of has a way. Sometimes it's just by pointing out like how I should do it. Other times just kind of there are these times when she kind of notices vines in the area that she kind of quickly kind of cuts and kind of is able to kind of really very quickly and efficiently rig up some kind of rope type thing where I'm able to kind of get myself up those difficult areas.
Okay. And through all that, a morning's hard work, you manage to get to this flat top to this outcropping, and there's mm, maybe it's like an observation post. So there's like a watchtower, like you could climb up into like an elevated watchtower here. And then there's also this small building that houses the cable car, and the cable car is here. And maybe let's pick up, Matthew, you were interested in whether it was like going to be, working order or not. So maybe you've opened up like the engine compartment of this thing. It's got like it's got like a gas engine that it uses to run this cable car. And it has gas, but beyond that, you're looking at it and all looks Greek to you. It doesn't seem to start up immediately, at least. Let's pick up there. What do you guys do here? Jessica, let's start with you. What are you doing here in this cable car area with this watchtower?
Uh, I guess I'm gonna look for some kind of user manual or some way to try to figure out what's wrong and how to fix it.
Okay, that sounds good. That really sounds pretty much like scavenge to me, doesn't it? So Jessica, if you want to trigger that move, pick someone that you're telling a story to. Maybe you're both looking around, and roll plus clever.
Sure, yeah. I think I'll be working mostly with Alex, I guess. And I'll be telling a story. We're looking around. I'm just like, um, let me know.
And I'm sorry. Remember, maybe you are choosing. Remember that you have that list of stories on your character sheet. If you're working from that, great. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm gonna, mention the comfort, the mundane comfort I miss the most,
Okay.
and just going through it all, and just like I let me know if you see like the user manual or some sort of guidebook, or while you're at it, let me know if you find any sriracha. Who's ever in charge of catering for this place didn't get any, and I've just, I don't know. I haven't had spicy food in weeks.
Okay, I love it. Go ahead and roll plus clever. You're going to find a bottle of sriracha.
Got an 11.
Wow. All right. You guys are doing good now. You find something useful, maybe even that one thing you were hoping for. So I think indeed you do find a user manual without any complication. And you start pouring through it. And it looks like, as far as you can tell, you need to, I'll prove my lack of knowledge of mechanics. You need to like change the spark plugs. But luckily, there's a box of spark plugs right there. How convenient. And you're able, over the next few minutes, you guys work together to exchange, change these spark plugs, and you push the button, and it sputters, and smoke comes billowing out of this engine. But it after a moment, it smooths out and it runs like a baby. And as far as you know, if you jump on board and push the button, you should be good to go. And this you're looking over, and you can see it goes right down to the CAD core installation at the base of that cliff. Is that what you guys want to do now?
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
Just a second. I clicked something I shouldn't have clicked.
I can't wait for whatever terrors await us.
Right. Cute dinosaurs, I'm sure. Oh, it's not important.
Well, if we're lucky, a dinosaur man.
Sure. Let's see. I'm trying to figure out if there's a need for any rolls on this. Probably not. I think you guys have done enough by discovering this. So I think you get on board and you have a panoramic view of the jungle as you ride across, and maybe you even see like there's a couple clearings. You can see like a couple of those Deinonychus running through, and they look up at you and they disappear into the jungle when they see you, going floating overhead. And you come, the ride isn't too long. I'm guessing maybe 20-30 minutes, and it comes down to a ground level station right outside the CAD core installation at the base of the cliff. And let me catch up on my notes here. Okay, the CAD core installation is a large building that is sitting before the cliff. It looks kind of like this. And Alex, Alex, I'm showing a building. It looks kind of like a warehouse slash hangar. It's kind of covered in dirt. It's kind of like it's dug into a cliffside, and it looks overgrown though. It's been a couple months since anybody presumably has been taking care of things, and a lot of the grasses and stuff have started to sort of take over this installation. There's lots of boxes and stuff around. There's you guys have sort of sailed over them, but there was all these fencing that was around the perimeter of this building, and a lot of that fencing is all ripped up and torn up. Like it's not protecting anything anymore. And you've sailed across, and you've landed, and you're not very far from the doorway. And there's these big double doors that are in pretty good condition. You can see they're partially open, and out walks Aunt Maggie. And Robbie, you see your Aunt Maggie walk out of these doors, a vision of beauty and gentleness and kindness. Um, she's carrying a gun, and she walks out with a big smile when she sees you. But Kyle or Jessica and Alex, you see something different. You see a rugged, middle-aged woman in fatigues, with a heavy pack and an assault rifle in her hands, with a grimace on her face. Um, Jules, what do you do when you see your aunt?
Well, I don't think there's any question. I'm so relieved, and you know, you hear just this, oh, Maggie, Aunt Maggie. It can't be you. And Jules kind of starts to just make a beeline right for her.
Sure. And her arms are outstretched, and she brings you in. She gives you a huge hug. She gives you a kiss on the forehead, and she goes, "Oh, Jules, I'm so glad to see you, but why are you here? You shouldn't be here."
Um, Jules, he doesn't answer that, but he says, when we first got here, we were at a we came to these barracks, and there were there were bodies, and the first thing that crossed my mind was, what had happened to you, and I was looking through there, and uh, it was a relief when I didn't see that you were there. And Maggie, Aunt Maggie, I know that you're so, I don't know, you always manage to come through these, you know, situations, all those stories that you've told me when I was growing up about, the things you'd done. I just knew that I would find you here and that you'd still be safe.
She says, "All right, we'll talk later. We need to get inside. Those Deinonychus, those creatures are out there." And she gestures to the other two of you, and she says, "Come on, come, Jules' friends. Let's get inside. Come on." And she gestures for you guys to go in, and I'll presume you follow. And she slides, she pushes and she slides this heavy door. It latches shut. You hear a click, of it locking, and you've moved into this sort of open, kind of like a warehouse. It's kind of like a large open area. And in this room, there are quite a few tables and like computer stations in front of you. But most of the area is filled with rows of these sealed boxes, these heavy plastic boxes, and they all have labels on them. Despite the picture has a bunch of things that's written on them, but imagine it saying CAD Core with the symbols on them. It's got all of these heavy plastic boxes, lined up in rows throughout this building. And you can see that there's exits in different directions, different parts of this warehouse. One's labeled like hatchery, one's labeled veterinary, one's labeled botany lab, one's labeled medical, one's labeled living quarters. There's a bunch of building rooms that seem to come off of this central warehouse area.
So despite the situation, it's the place is basically in order and well stocked.
This place inside, yeah, it seems to be in order. There's no signs of any violence or problems.
And when Aunt Maggie greeted us, like she was not accompanied by anybody else. It was just her by her lonesome with an assault rifle.
That's right. And
Okay.
the key thing, make sure you guys didn't miss this. She looks much different to Jules than she does to the two of you.
Yeah, that's what I was. I wasn't sure whether that's what you were getting at. I thought you were just giving
Right.
us a very specific description,
Right.
for those of us who, yeah.
Right. She looks
Okay.
very, very sweet and feminine and motherly to Jules. and beautiful, but to you, she looks rugged and worn out and, decked out in
Just
like, the same
and
kind of
older.
like an older, yeah.
So basically, a hard ass Helen Mirren, basically.
Right. The actual picture I have is, I don't know if anybody would recognize it, but it's Jennifer Jason Leigh from the movie Annihilation. If you've ever seen
Oh,
that movie.
Jennifer Jason Leigh, great choice.
Yeah. And
Can
the
I
other
just say
pic,
Salvador Troy is just like gray haired Oscar Isaac.
sure. And you do hear one, you do actually hear when you come inside, you do hear someone sort of like on the other side of the warehouse. Like you can't see it because there's all these boxes between you and there, but you do hear a voice of someone singing way out of key, very poorly, but singing at the top of their voice somewhere back in the warehouse, back in the racks. Jessica, what do you do in this new strange environment, to you at least?
Uh, well, I'm definitely panicking internally.
Aren't we all?
Always.
Just yeah, trying to like keep my eyes open and my ears open, just seeing if I can overhear or see something
Sure.
about this just doesn't seem right. I don't
So
know what,
so
but yeah.
Aunt Maggie says to Jules, she says, Jules, be a dear. I'm going to need to take care of that arm of yours. That looks bad. Go into the medical area. I want to get your friend set up. I'll be with you in just a minute, okay?
I grab Jules' wrist before he can even start, and I turn to quote unquote Aunt Maggie, and I ask, like what's going on here? Like, wait a minute, when did you suddenly become, like family or whatever? Like, like basically, why should we listen to you? Yeah.
Well, Jules hasn't told you about me, about his aunt?
He's told me about his aunt, but he didn't tell me that his aunt, uh, was is a 50-year-old woman working for Cadcor brandishing an assault rifle.
She goes, you're a strange one. She turns to you, Jules, and she goes up to you. She puts her arm around you and she whispers in your ear, "Door me," and you fall asleep.
Wow.
She sets you down on the ground and she stands up. She goes, I didn't want to have to do that, but I guess he kind of made me. Look, this situation's really shitty. We should work together, right?
So I passed down the ground, but I'm still conscious. Is that what we're
No,
going
not
for?
you, not you, Jules. She whispered
Okay.
something to Jules, and he fell asleep
Mm-mm.
when you were, saying about what you see.
Hi, Jessica. You're our only hope.
I'm sorry, say that again.
I was joking to Kyle. Hi, Jessica. You're our only hope.
Right. Right. So she says, look, I'm sure you're really confused. You're safe here, okay? I'm sure you had a rough time getting here. I really need to take care of that arm of Jules. You know, go ahead and make yourself comfortable in the living quarters. You'll find some food. If you need a rest, go ahead. Just any of the machinery or the hatchery or anything that's closed or you know something that use your best judgment. Just don't get your fingers into anything that you're going to regret, okay? But I need to go and take care of him. Is there anything before I do that you need or want? Okay, well, you're on your own. I'll catch up with you guys as soon as I get his arms taken care of, okay? And she goes and she kind of picks up, and she seems pretty strong. She lifts him up and she kind of, half carries, half drags him, into down through into the medical area, presumably, leaving the two of you standing there. Jessica, what do you think you do?
Start looking for supplies, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I've been scavenging long enough. I don't know, portable food, protein bars, whatever I can fit in my pockets, pretty much.
Well, she did say that there would be a lot of food down in the living area. Do you want to go back in there?
Sure, yeah.
Wait, I'm a
Sure.
little confused. So she whispered to Jules, and he's out.
Right.
I got the impression that she did that to me too.
No. So this
Okay,
let's rewind and go back over the scene just so we're all on the same page.
got it,
So
got it, got it.
you guys
Okay.
you all came in
Mhm.
and and she's like, come on, Jules, I got to go take care of that arm. And then you started to talk about what you see, how you perceive her, as a 50-year-old rugged woman.
Mm,
And
that's when she put him to
she
sleep.
almost instantly went over and embraced Jules and whispered this word in his ear, and he immediately fell unconscious.
Got
Then
it.
she spoke to you plainly, and
Mm-hmm.
now she's taking him back into the medical area.
All right, all right, all right. Okay.
Everybody
So while
got it?
Jessica, yeah, yeah. So while Jessica's stuffing in her pockets, I'm like, listen, you know, not everything is on the up and up here. Like, it's, I don't understand how you can stuff your pockets with food right now when it's clear that this lady, um, you know, is completely suspicious.
Do you have an assault rifle?
Well, that's why I'm talking to you and not talking to her directly about it.
Look. Until we get an assault rifle of our own, I'm pretty sure what she says goes. I want to get off this alive, and right now that involves doing exactly what she says, I think.
Oh, God.
And there was one other detail I want to make sure you guys caught too. There is someone else singing somewhere back in the
That's
in
right. That's
the in
right.
the warehouse area. And
So,
I'll even add, just to make it extra tasty, Alex, you definitely recognize this voice.
oh yeah, I think I do. I'm following that voice. I'm following that off key. You know, a person with 100% confidence in their singing and not nearly enough talent to justify it.
That's totally right.
Yeah.
All right, so you talked to Jessica. She sat down with a big plate of some sort of, I don't know, something, that's not perishable, but very tasty after what you've been surviving on, with a big old bottle of sriracha.
Yeah, I was gonna say it goes well with sriracha. That's what it's
Yeah,
gotta be.
maybe they have like a rice cooker there. You've cooked up some rice and some soy or something, some like dehydrated soy that they
The
there
the rice is ready.
exactly. And there is power in this building. There is lighting and power. So Alex has made his way into the stacks of these boxes, and you see Alex on these boxes. They all have the names of different dinosaurs, and they're all the long scientific names, right? And then the uh, I don't know what you call the name that we all call them. The colloquial
Hmm.
name and the scientific names are all listed, in very professional plaques or whatever stuck to the side of each of these containers. And some of them are really huge, some of them are tiny, some of them are mid-sized. And you make your way along and you make your way through these stacks and you see Salvatore Choi. Do you want to is it Oscar Isaac? An older Oscar Isaac?
Basically, Oscar Isaac when he's not on the camera, which means letting his hair out and letting the whites show.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
And so there's this handsome man of multiple cultures working. There's a huge table, and there's sort of like one of those portable cranes that you can kind of drive around. I guess kind of like a forklift. But anyways, it's parked beside there, and it's sort of like it's got like these binds or bounds that allow it to move around big things, and it's lowered down a dinosaur onto this table. and and it smells heavily of formaldehyde. And one of these containers is sitting there, and it's open, and you can see it's full of that fluid, that formaldehyde. And Alex, what kind of dinosaur is it that he's working on, you think?
Let's go. Let's make this scene like hit hard, right? So let's make it so it's a big ass dinosaur.
Okay.
Like, yeah, not quite Tyrannosaurus Rex, but definitely bigger. Bigger than an elephant.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So, do you want it to be like a herbivore or like a meat eater?
Let's
Does it
make it a
matter?
carnivore. We haven't seen any yet, and
Sure.
what a better way to introduce the carnivores than our first version of it to be one that is completely not a threat, helping
Okay.
us escalate the situation later.
Sure. Let's say it's I think there's one called Utah Raptor, which is in the same family as the Deinonychus, but it's much bigger. Um,
Ah,
so it's like a giant sized Deinonychus. How's that sound?
yeah, let's go with that.
Okay. So he's like arm length, like half crawling around inside the cavity of this dinosaur, and he pulls out some organ and he goes, "Ah, yes, as I thought. Of course." And then he continues to sing. He's got like a Walkman, or like a more modern version, I guess. And he's listening he's singing a pop song. What pop song do you think he's singing?
He is singing Dua Lipa's "Physical."
Okay, I don't know it, but if you want to sing a little of it for us, go ahead.
I'm not. I'm not gonna embarrass myself to do
Okay,
that.
okay, me either. Maybe I'll Google it. But so he's singing this along, and there you are. He doesn't see you.
Um, and I take it the earphones are wedged in real
Right,
tight.
right.
Um, so first, I talk to him, then I yell, I say his name, then I yell at him, and
Sure.
then I approach and I sort of like grab one of his tools, whatever that he's using, and I just from his hand, and just throw it to the ground. I go, hey, what the hell is going on here?
So he startles, of course, and he like topples away from the cavity of this dinosaur, and he has a pratfall, and he falls to the ground, and his headphones, fall off, and he goes, "Ow, that hurt." Uh, he goes, "I know you. What is it? Aaron, Annabeth. Uh,
Sal,
oh yeah,
it's
yeah,
me, it's
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Alex.
yeah. You're the new one. Oh yeah, the pretty one. Uh, well, hi. How'd you
You,
get here?
hi, you specifically asked me to come here. What the hell is going on?
Oh yeah, of course I did. Well, I'm glad you're here. I've figured out some really wonderful things. So many of my theories, right on, 100%. We're gonna get this stuff back to the museum, and all of those so-called experts are gonna pee their pants when they see what we have.
I won't. I won't lie. These creatures are extremely remarkable. But what I want to know is, what is going on, and why who is that strange woman? Um, uh, who's that strange woman brandishing an assault rifle? And I tell him, like, who I've met along this way, how hard it has been to get all the way here, and how the woman, who, by the way, did not introduce herself by name, only that she answers to Aunt Maggie, sort of like took Jules away.
Okay. Um, so I think he says, uh, he goes, that's a lot. Let's sit down. So he gestures, and he's got like he's got like a couple bottles of water, and he sits down, and he's got like a plate with some food that's obviously been sitting there for way too long. And he sits you down, and he pours some water for each of you, and he says, "Well, let's start at the beginning, shall we?" And let's cut to Jessica. Kyle, was there anything else you wanted to do? I'm just looking forward. I think what's going to happen is we're going to have give you a chance to have a scene. We're going to check in with Jules, and then this is actually that moment where you each are going to get that advance. So we'll do that for a few minutes. But I want to give you a chance. Is there anything else, anything you would like to do, any scenes you would like to have before we move around?
I don't think so.
Okay, so you're just chowing down. It sounds reasonable. So Jules, you're unconscious, of course. And first of all, go ahead. If you've marked it, you can unmark the wound. She's going to take care of your arm for you. All right. And you're going to be asleep for a while. And during that time, you're going to have another dream, or is it a vision? Let's see. Let me find my notes on this. Okay. So you see you're soaring in the air, and you're high in the air. You're flying through some clouds, and you come out of the clouds, and you sort of swoop a little bit lower, and you see below you a plateau. And on each side of the plateau is jungle, but there's a flat open area in the middle. And there are several buildings here. There's a tower. There's quite various buildings here. But what you're drawn to and what you approach or fly towards is a large, what do we call it? I guess it's like a huge containment building. It's made out of reinforced concrete. It's tall. It has a domed roof made out of reinforced concrete. And on one side, or the side facing like the center of this plateau, is a huge doors made out of thick, solid steel. And you move towards it. The camera would be sort of on a dolly. I think it's a dolly. Is that what it is? When it sort of rolls on a wire towards these solid doors. And back inside, it's dark, super dark, and these red glowing eyes, are back in there, and you feel this malevolent intelligence, this rage and hatred, but super intelligent. And it sees you, it knows you, it sees you dreaming on the table inside this building, and it hates you. It wants to destroy you. And it runs at these bars in this huge shape, this massive shape, hits these bars, and they rattle and shake. And of course, we see a little bit of a dramatic, little bit of a little bit of that concrete peel, kind of crumbling as these bars are pressed against by this massive shape. Okay, so that's your dream. So in game terms, what we've reached is this is called the extinction event. Things are going to get more dramatic. The stakes have been raised. We're moving towards our finale, and we start a clock. I don't know if you guys have played games with clocks before, but we have
there's a clock. Oh, yes.
And this clock is called what I'm showing here on the page now, Matthew, is the map, and there's a spot on the map for countdowns. So we're going to start a countdown called the Xenosaur Escapes, and it has three boxes on it. Okay.
I was hoping we were going to say, "Welcome to Jurassic Clock."
Right. So each of you now, we've reached that milestone that we talked about. So on your playbooks, you can each choose one of those advanced moves. Just mark it, then we'll go around and see what you chose. I'm going to jump up and run to the bathroom real quick. You guys can, let's take 5 minutes. We'll take 10. Yeah, we got a little bit of time. Let's take 10 minutes to, take a break, pick your advanced move. We'll jump back into the action at 10 minutes from now, which will be 10:45 on my clock. Okay. So let's check back in 10.
I
You guys make your selections.
Yes, I picked Hoarder. It seemed appropriate.
Yep.
And I picked the Good Listener, which allows me to volunteer and then get a
Right.
bonus on the
Yeah,
instruction.
that's a neat. There's
move.
There's not a lot of moves in this game, but I like them. They're evocative. They do a lot. Like they're potentially very effective. So that's a good one. And Hoarder, what's that? Like allows you to find things when you need, just to find the right thing you need. Yeah, that sounds really good. Matthew, you got a move picked for your paleontologist?
Oh, you mean my pick? Yeah, my pick will be the I think someone something about when you put yourself in danger kind of situation. Where is this? It's called Curiosity Killed the Quetzalcoatlus. When you
Okay.
put yourself in danger in pursuit of knowledge or to investigate a mystery, take +1 to your roll.
Okay. Sounds good. I was just saying to these guys that there's not a lot of moves in this, but almost all of them are very evocative and interesting. So they all do something. There's not a lot of wasted moves.
Yeah.
Everybody back, ready to go another 15 minutes or so, and then we'll call it a day. Let's go back to Alex. So Salvador Choi says, like I said, he says, well, I guess I should start at the beginning. So, this first part's kind of boring, so I'll get through this quickly. So we came to the island, and I went ahead, and I heard a lot of screaming. So I ran, and those Deinonychus were after me. Fascinating creatures. So they seem incredibly intelligent, much more than I even realized. And I got to this place, luckily, and I was able to close the door, and that's pretty much that. And then I found this, this cornucopia of wonders here. He gestures at all these boxes with all these different dinosaurs, you know, um, inside of them. And he says, well, of course, I got to work. And then that woman, Margaret, Captain Margaret, Jules, what do you think her last name is? I guess it's probably not important, but any quicker?
I mean, we could Captain Margaret.
You might not even know.
Thing.
Actually, I think it's better. You just know her as Aunt Maggie. In fact, it doesn't make any sense. Like, why would you not know your aunt's last name, right? But you never really thought about it. So we'll just know she's just Captain Margaret, and she showed up, and her leg was all messed up, and I helped her out. I guess it's been a couple weeks, and only recently has she gotten well enough to move around, and she's all intent about getting up to the top of the cliff and getting out of here. And I guess that's a good idea. And then he says, yeah, I think it is a good idea. Now that you're here, I think this might be the time. And he gestures for you to follow him. And he leads you through this doorway into the hatchery. And I'm showing these guys a room of a hatchery. I think it's from one of the Jurassic movies. I don't know which one. I haven't seen it, but where's that picture? Here it is. It's got all of these, I don't know, cabinet or not, what would be tables, I guess, set with all of these dinosaur eggs, and they're all being incubated by these machines to keep them warm. And he goes, look at this. and you see that each one is got like a little readout that says like the temperature, how many days it's been there, what species it is. And he goes, "This is a gold mine. This is the Nobel Prize, my young woman." And he takes one out and he goes, "Well, I think it would be okay to grab a couple now since we're leaving probably tomorrow. I'm sure that woman's going to want to get out of here and get off the island as soon as possible." So he says, "Here, open your pack." And he pulls out one of these eggs and he kind of wraps it in a towel and he goes to put it in your pack.
Um, uh, are you sure this is? Are you sure this is right, Dr. Troy? Like, are you sure this is right, Sal? What are they trying to do? What are they trying to do with all of these? I mean, I'm happy for you that your theories are proven correct, and that everything that has been mocked or dismissed by the academic community is, you know, is true. But what are they doing? What does CADCore want?
Uh, I never thought about that actually. Um,
What have you been doing for them?
Me? I haven't done anything for him. I just came here and found this. Um, I guess maybe all those dinosaurs killed all of them, I suppose, and left all of this. But this is like I said, this is a gold mine. I mean, it does. I mean, at this point, I guess I'm sorry for all those people, but we've got to get this back to civilization, back to the museum.
But you don't understand, Sal. They don't belong in our world. They don't belong in our time.
He looks at you like completely confused. Well, look, in a patronizing way, he pats your shoulder and he says, "Look, I've never turned you wrong. You've been working with me for a long time, Annabeth. I'll be sure to put you on all the papers. You'll be a co-author. How's that sound?"
That's great, but we cannot. Whatever you want to do, however you want to prove your theories, whatever story you'd like to tell the world, it cannot involve taking a live specimen back into civilization.
I'm very disappointed in you. Well, I better get back to work. And he turns and he walks back to the table he was working on, and he starts to sing that song again. Jessica, um, maybe 10-15 minutes after you started to eat, you're starting to feel full, you're starting to feel satisfied, and Aunt Maggie walks in and she sets her gun down, beside the table, leaning up against the table, and she pulls up a chair and she goes, "Do you mind if I help myself to some of this rice?"
Yeah, go right ahead.
She says, "Thanks." What's your name? Jessica.
Jessica?
And I see the patch there. You work for CADCore?
I did. I don't know if I'm still employed.
She chuckles. She goes, "Yeah. What'd you do?"
I'm a custodian.
Well, I guess they say the meek will inherit the earth, right? So I want to get out of here. What about you?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. And long story, but I injured my leg, but I think it's well enough. I was going to wait another day or two, but now that Jules and you guys are here, I think tomorrow's the time. The tricky thing is we got to get up that cliff, and the crane that lifted the lift, I guess, is not working. I don't know. I don't know. It's off or broken or what, but the controls for it aren't working. I think we're going to have to find a way up that cliff. You think you could help me go out there and see if we can find something, some way to get up?
I can try.
Okay. Look, keep your eyes open. We're going to have to go outside. I don't usually see the Deinonychus coming around the back side of the building, but it's not unheard of. Do you have any weapons?
No.
All right. Well, I'll cover you. So she leads you back there, and she opens up, a real firm security door at the back of the building. It slides open. She looks out. She looks both ways with her gun, and pointed both ways. And you see that there's like she said, there, maybe 20 yards, or from the back of the building, there's this cliff that goes up, and it's pretty steep. It's not 90 degrees, but it's pretty steep. And there's like I'm not sure what you call it, a platform, that's got like chains that go way up in the air, and you can see way up there. It's maybe, I don't know, maybe like 100 yards high. Way up there, there's like a crane, like the arm of a crane that presumably would lift you up there. But she had said that it's not working. There's like, on the platform, there's buttons or whatever to push that would presumably work the crane to lift you, but she says it's not working. So it's a matter of trying to figure out some other way of getting up there. What do you think you would do, or how would you go about trying to figure this out, do you think, Jessica?
Is it okay if I'm in this scene, having
Sure.
basically turned my back on Sal?
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe you've made your way over there. What do you think you're
Uh,
feeling? Well, let me ask you this, Alex. What do you think you're feeling after your conversation with Dr. Choi?
Angry, absolutely. I'm sure that was evident. Disappointed, and maybe and definitely frustrated. I have half a mind to drag his fucking ass out of here.
Sure. Okay. So Alex comes over, clearly in an emotional place, and there you guys are. That would actually help with the move, because I'm going to have you. I think the appropriate move here would be the probably either lay of the land or scavenge. I think would probably be. Which one would be better for you? I guess they both use clever. So I'll leave it to you guys. Basically, the two of you start to look around while Maggie is covering you in case of dinosaurs coming, and you're looking for a way to get up this cliff. So, who wants to take the lead and tell a story? You can roll a die if you want, just see who takes it. If you want to, min max it, who has the highest clever might be a good way to go.
I'm at +2, but I think Jessica's also +2, but I'm not sure for sure.
I am, yeah.
Well, there you are. Do you want me to roll a die? See who tells a story, and
Why not? Let me go look at my stories and see what I have
let's
ready.
see. D2. 1 is going to be Alex. 2 will be Jessica. What did I roll? Oh, I didn't do it right. One moment. /RD2. I got a 1. So, Alex, tell us a story.
So let me see. I only have one story left to tell, honestly.
Oh, okay. You're doing good.
And so I'm trying to figure out how to tie it into the moment, and it's a little tricky. But I think I can thread this needle just give me a moment to think about it.
You know what? I'll tell you what. We don't. If you want to, if you have another story that fits better that you want to make up on your own, that is fine with me. We'll give you credit for another story.
I think. Well, I think I'm already. I'm all. Oof. Let's see. Now I think I'm already trying to thread a needle in my head for this story, so it'll be a
Okay.
bit of a sharp pivot
Okay.
to think of something else. Maybe I have an arch rival who I consider to be a hack. Is the story I'm supposed to tell, right? And the wait, we're doing lay of the land, or we're doing search or scavenge.
I would say it could be either one, really. It's up to you.
Mm. And how he it's a he how he basically is a hack because he'll take anything and sort of like uh he'll take any of his associates and any of his sort of like interns and take credit for their work, right? And when he does that, he always spins a larger than life story about how the find was how the find was found. And they call him, they kind of call him Cliffhanger Jones for that kind of uh big story stuff that he tells. But the reality is that paleontology and uh fieldwork is never ever that glamorous. And I
Right.
relate that story as I try to sort of like you know take a practical view of the situation. In fact, I kind of want to propose to Jessica that maybe the crane still does work. It just doesn't work from down here, because I'm pretty sure a crane. I'm pretty sure most equipments have two ways of controlling them from at least something of this scale, from below or from the top. So maybe if we can just get into the control box for this crane up above, which is God knows how many stories, we
Right.
can get that thing to work. It's just
Okay.
one of us has to make it there.
Okay. So let's roll the dice and see what we get, and then we'll go from there. So roll plus clever.
Okay, I guess that's me. Let me see. Rolling, rolling, rolling. That is a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Okay. 10 plus. Which one were you doing? Lay of the land or scavenge?
um, let's see.
Scavenge might be a slightly better fit. Let's go with that.
Yes, let's
Okay.
go with scavenge.
You find something useful, maybe even that one thing you were hoping for. So you see that it's not going to be easy, but you see, you kind of like you spot on the ground level that there's enough of a lip kind of going up that you might be able to walk/climb your way up, and you follow, your gaze climbs up this cliff, and you're like, yeah, we could probably switch back there, and we could probably go along here and then go vertical there a little bit. We might have to jump there though, but it's possible. And
Can
you
I
see,
propose something to add to
sure,
that
sure,
description? As it bends over, as that lip, like sort of like you're telling me, Jason, you're telling me that there's a way to get up there that
yeah,
isn't completely improbable. And I think maybe halfway up it gets a little bit more improbable, just to be a little bit more realistic about this.
right,
But
right,
there is a rock, like a rock face that is along this that runs parallel to the side of the crane. And seeing that, you see that, hmm, I reach into my pockets and I hand out the climbing pick, and I offer it to Jessica and I say, when you get to the top there, you will need this.
hmm, okay,
So I'm proposing that Jessica do the climb.
right, and somehow get the crane to work. Is that kind of like the
Yeah, that's
hope?
the gist. Yeah, and the hope that the pick will allow her to make the second half of the trip.
Okay.
If that's okay with
So,
you, Kyle.
Works for me.
so Maggie comes forward and says, "Do you see anything? Did you find a way up?" What's your name, dear? She looks at you, Alex.
Alex. Or that's Dr. Morales to you.
Uh, uh, so, Dr. Morales, did you find a way up, perhaps? Do you see any possibilities?
I described to her what you told me.
Okay.
I point to the crane. I show the you know some of the challenges that it takes to get out there. But it's possible. It's you can get there.
Okay. She thinks about it. She looks. She looks at you. She looks at Jessica. She says, "I better check on Jules. Get good rest. It's going to be a tough morning, I think." Um, and then she goes off. And Jules, you wake up, and Aunt Maggie's sitting beside you. She has your hand, your good hand, your left hand in her hand, and she has like a wet cloth that she has on your forehead, and she wipes it, and she says, "How are you feeling?"
Jules kind of moves that injured arm around and says, "Well, I guess I just needed another rest. I mean, I felt better this morning, but now after, another sleep, I don't know. It's amazing how quickly this seems to have kind of gotten itself kind of healed. I mean, it's not 100%, but it's feeling pretty good. Well, and you're here, so I mean, that's just everything
She
seems to be
smiles.
all
She says, "You're
right."
such a sweet boy. Look, we've got to get out of here. This place is no place for any of us, especially someone as sweet as you. We've got to climb a cliff, though, so I'm glad your arm's feeling better. I'm going to take care of you. There's nothing to be afraid of." And with her big, motherly smile, that's the end of the. We'll end there for today. All right. Any questions or thoughts? I won't do any stars or wishes or anything today. We'll skip that for today. At the end of next session, we'll do like a roses and thorns to get everybody's thoughts about how it all went and all that good stuff. I had a lot of fun. I'm glad we got to where we got to today. I think we'll have plenty of time to finish it up next time and have our big finale. Lots of danger on the horizon.
Oh yes, absolutely, and I look forward to it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much. I will see you next Tuesday. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.